Welcome to my channel. My name is Octavia and this is the Edit by OC, where I talk about fashion, overall health and wellness, and lifestyle. So today's video is one that I am burning up to share with my brides. I'm a 2022 bride, and let me just tell you, it was a journey really figuring out how to navigate the wedding planning process, as well as making sure that we're staying in budget, okay? So during today's video, I'm going to bring to you guys kind of an alternative way to create some really valuable wedding gifts that your guests are going to love and that will keep you in budget. So for me as a bride, I actually did quite a bit of the wedding planning process on my own. So I was reaching out to vendors, I was really hands-on in the process. We actually just had a day of planner, and with the wedding the size that we had, very challenging feat to be mindful of all of the moving parts, all of the components. But once it came to the portion where I wanted to really figure out wedding gifts for our guests, I started to dig around, going different websites and really explore options. I didn't have anything in particular in mind. I just knew we knew that we wanted the gift to be something that people would want to take home. I'm one of those people that when you try to give me a free gift, I'm like, oh no thank you. Like going out to festivals or going to different places, I don't want to bring stuff home that I know I'm not going to use. So I really wanted to be mindful of the gift that we were giving to them, wanted it to be in budget, and I wanted it to look really good. So as I was going through the process of exploring different options, checking out different websites, I really found that a lot of the gifts, even the ones on Etsy, were crazy expensive, like getting up to $10, $12 per guest. And if you have a large wedding, that easily becomes a problem. So I decided to kind of think outside the box and go on ALIBABA.com. So ALIBABA.com is a place where you can get wholesale items for a very discounted price, very cheap price. And you can even kind of what they call private label the items. I'm gonna walk you through some of the stages and some of the steps in that process. When it came to creating the gifts, I started the process in April, mid to late April of 2022. The wedding was July 2nd. So I started to kind of panic a little bit because the time constraint. I knew that we wouldn't have a lot of time to create the number of products that we needed to in time for the wedding. So I started looking at all of the options for wedding gifts. So like I said, I started on different websites, then I went over to Alibaba and I started making a list of all of the different kinds of items that we could create for our guests. So I went through like coffee mugs and considered t-shirts, towels, like all kinds of different things that I've been given as a wedding guest that I thought maybe would be good to share with other people. I decided like, no, I want to do something unique, and I want it to be, like I said, something that's going to be really valuable and really nice, a nice addition to our wedding guest homes. So I landed on candles. I really wanted to create candles for our guests. So I started looking at the different suppliers, and girl, when I tell you there's so many suppliers, so I had to kind of narrow things down even more. Like, what do I want to give? I wanted to, at the time when I started this, I knew I wanted to be a black candle because that would look nice in any home, but preferably a candle with a lid. I thought that would look nice and something that would be a really good option. And then also price wise, I wanted to figure out if I could find something that would be very low in price. So let's talk about just kind of selecting the vendors. I sorted it by those who offered black, or I think I was looking at neutral candles at first as well. Kind of browns, kind of warm tones, that sort of thing. So I really explored all of those kinds of options and narrowed down a list of vendors, of suppliers that could provide that type of candle. Started out with that list, and then I narrowed it down even further to look at price. So I think at the time I was looking at candles that were $1, $1.50 max. per candle because I really wanted to be as price conscious as possible. I was looking at very affordable options for these candles. So in that process, I actually started reaching out to different vendors. I believe that I reached out to about 20 different vendors once it was all said and done, and each one of them kind of had different things that they were offering, different things to consider. So I really narrowed in on a couple of vendors. I sent over the criteria and things that I wanted to do. So that was kind of the first one. I started the conversation with the vendors. Some of the questions that I asked the vendors were, so what's the timeline, how much the shipping would cost, and then if I would be able to put my own logo on each of the candles. So I started the conversation with a supplier. She had a candle with a lid that was in my price point, and then I asked her to provide me other black candles that she had, that she was able to provide as well. So I really wanted the candles to be black and gold. The candle that had the lid was actually a silver lid. And at first I thought that would be fine, and then after talking to my fiance, we both decided that we want to go with a candle that was both black and gold. So black with gold writing on it to try to make it look a little bit fancier, a little bit more upscale. After selecting a vendor, getting all the information back, she was very nice to put all the prices of the candles that we were considering onto a grid so I could see what the price was. We had already established how much the shipping would be, so I had a ballpark understanding of how much each of those things would be. From there, I needed to create a logo. So I actually went over to fiverr.com and I started looking at different people who create logos. That's what they do as a profession. So I finally identified someone who can make the logo, and then I started kind of crafting a logo that I thought would be a good representation of us, and I landed on both of our initials and then kind of a puzzle piece because my name starts with an O. So I wanted to kind of fill the O with something a little bit creative and represent us, and it was kind of like the puzzle pieces coming together. So I thought that would be cute for the concept of a wedding. So I gave that to the person on Fiverr to create the logo. They got it back to me in a very timely fashion. The only hiccup that I ran into with the person on Fiverr is that they actually sent me a JPEG file rather than a PNG file, which the vendor on Alibaba actually preferred. So after I sent that over to Alibaba, they're like, oh, we need to kind of make some changes to this logo because it's a little bit, the font was a little bit small on the candle. The Alibaba team actually had a designer that was able to go in and modify the logo so that it would show up large enough on the candle. So it was really great to work with that team because they were really mindful of what we needed. I did end up sharing with the supplier that these candles were being created for our wedding, and she was so great to talk to. She was very helpful and effective in making sure that she communicated with us in a timely fashion. I kept all of the communication on alibaba.com. I didn't take it off. A lot of the suppliers will say, hey, let's communicate on WhatsApp or that sort of thing, and I was a little bit concerned, a little bit worried about it being sketchy, so I wanted to keep all of the communication on Alibaba just in case. But she was really great, very responsive, and she was very helpful in bringing in their team when we ran into certain issues with the design. So I actually asked her for videos of the candles as we were considering different options, and she provided those videos. As we narrowed things down and I asked her for a mock-up of the candle, they created a digital mock-up with our logo that we received from Fiverr, and we were able to approve or disapprove of the candle mock-up. And then from there, they actually created the actual physical mock-up of the candle. So they created the physical mock-up. That's when they identified, hey, we want to change the font a little bit. So they made some of those changes to the font, and it came out really nice. I was so happy because I didn't have to say those things. They were wanting to be very professional in what they delivered. So we talked through all the options. They allowed me to pick the box for the candle, the ribbon that went around the candle. They gave me a few options for that. And then from there, that process took a few weeks. But then from there, we went ahead and started making, I think we ended up getting 275 candles. I know, insane. The Alibaba team actually let me know that because the candles came in a glass container, there was risk of some of them breaking in the shipping process. With that, they let me know that they would actually add additional candles to the box, just in case we had some of those casualties where some of the candles actually broke. So that was really great, and in fact, we did have some of those candles that broke, so it was nice to have a few more candles in the box. After the candles were completely mocked up and ready to go, they actually went ahead and shipped them. So this is the only thing that was a little bit sketchy and weird for me. Okay, so when the candles were complete, they had them all in different boxes, and they let me know that they would ship them via USPS. Or excuse me, they would ship them via UPS. After they had shipped the candles, they actually sent me a little note and let me know, hey, the candles have been shipped, here's your tracking number. Great. Several weeks went by. I want to say it was like 1 or 2 weeks went by, and I got nothing. I got no updates from UPS. I got no updates from the supplier letting me know where the candles were, besides the fact that they let me know that they dropped them off to be shipped. But every time I would look at the tracking number, there were no additional updates on the tracking. So as a bride, as someone who knows that we have a very tight timeline to be able to do these things, I started freaking out. Because several weeks passed. I want to say 2 or 3 weeks passed. In total, the shipping took 24 days or so. And several weeks passed and I got nothing, no updates on the shipping. So that was extremely concerning for me to not have received any sort of updates. So like I said, I reached out to the supplier on Alibaba to ask for an update, and I was like, please give me something, because I actually called UPS after that, after doing the tracking for several weeks, and they told me that it didn't get shipped. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? So then I reached out to the supplier again, and she's like, no ma'am, just relax. We ship them. They are off at sea. So the process is to ship them from China, and then they have to, all the products have to be on a boat. And then they come over to the US. So I think they were on a boat for, it took like a couple weeks. Like it took a total of 24 days for the candles to even get into the US. After it was in the US, it was very quick. Oh my gosh, throughout the shipping process, I was freaking out because I was like, I don't know where these items are. We ordered a lot of them. It was very expensive, so I wanted to make sure that they got here in a timely fashion. So after figuring out the shipping and everything, we were good to go, and I was so happy that the candles arrived. So I will show you pictures of the final product, but we were very, very happy with how the candles turned out. Our guests were excited. Like after the wedding, some people weren't able to grab a candle, but they were eager and kind of reaching out to me saying, hey, can I get a candle? Put one to the side for me. I wasn't able to grab one. I didn't see them, or whatever the case was. So I was really, really happy to hear the positive feedback from people receiving the candles. It was probably one of the more unique wedding gifts that I have personally received, so I was really happy with it. I was really happy with the way that the logo looked. We were able to put our established 2022 on the box, so it's always something that our guests will remember from our wedding. So I am so pleased with the overall outcome of the gift. Our guests were very pleased. We ended up choosing a sandalwood scent for the candle. Smelled amazing, really, really good, and I'm really happy with the product. So I wanted to share that with you all so that you have kind of an idea of a way that you can think outside of the box when it comes to accomplishing your wedding gifts, doing so in a price-conscious fashion. There's so many things that you can potentially provide to your guests, but why not give them something that's useful, that's gonna really help them to remember your day in a positive way. So if you've made it to the end of this video, go ahead and give me a like, leave a comment, subscribe, stick around. There's gonna be more really, really great tips If you have any questions about the process, anything that I can do to help you along your journey, please leave a comment below. I'm happy to answer questions. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.